My name is Joseph P. Firmage, candidate for President of the United States of America for 2024. I speak now to the United Nations of Presidents, Prime Ministers, Kings, and Royals. I speak now to the leaders of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. I speak now to the President of the United States and my Commander-in-Chief. Brothers and sisters in leadership of the free world. I am an experienced scientist, Chief Executive Officer in industry, and a Mormon Christian. In that latter sense, I wish to speak today in behalf of all Christians, of Jews, of all Muslims, Hindus, and Buddhists of good heart. Are you witness to the likes of the beginning of the last World War again? Imagine that you are a mother of one child, and you are at this minute walking out of your country on foot, having left behind your history, your house, your husband, carrying with you only that sacred little life, and perhaps a sack or a bag of the most sacred of your memories. The soldiers from Russia are going to kill them. Russia is killing Ukraine, more specifically, President Putin. God and universal human rights be damned, says he. That president will report to his people, and then to all people. Why? Why this invasion? Because it is a corridor that defines the meaning of Eurasia, Europe, Asia. It is the corridor of the great peoples of Ukraine who were compelled to choose which side of World War II to live and to die for. These brothers and sisters of ours, leaders, do remember why the United Nations was formed. They remember why the North Atlantic Treaty Organization was formed. Neither was formed to stand apart from the vertex of aggression, striking again, now at the children of all the men who had to choose there what they were willing to die for many decades ago. Today, the vast majority have chosen freedom and are willing and are dying for it. The extraordinary sanctions are working upon those very few, the current leader of Russia and his obedience, who are again sacrificing rising generations, forming their democratic republic, seeking peace, in the very place where allies and axes were defined in the Second World War. Given recent events, I see only one path of life for this great people and their nation, Ukraine. It is the reason why the United Nations and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization were formed, to prevent forever any world war, especially in Eurasia. I stand with the President of Ukraine in calling for a no-fly zone. In the general principle, I believe that any member state of the United Nations may declare an international state of emergency, requiring, in these days, protection from above. I call upon NATO to exert all efforts necessary, with partners allied, to protect the boundaries of Ukraine in air and in space, to shield this great people from this evil. I share in the call for a no-fly zone over Ukraine, the specific area of which must be defined by the leader of Ukraine in consultation and in integrity with those with whom he is now speaking around the tables. It will probably have to allow the small regions of those who consider themselves part of Russia to become part of Russia by emigrating there. This no-fly zone should be powered by those nations willing and most able to do so, those indeed who volunteer to do so. NATO forces, I believe, should be supported by the newest branch of the U.S. military, the United States Space Force, to aid in isolating and observation and exercise of force when and where needed. I believe it is time for the missions commissioned by the Allied peoples to preserve the peace after the Second World War, lest a Third World War be caused by another tyrannical child, Mr. Putin, and to respond to the inherent right of any member state of these free United Nations to call upon all nations to shield it from above and reinforce its boundaries from violence. Let us close the Second World War, and for that matter the Cold War, by enforcing peace above its very place of inception. And let us never see a Third World War justified by inaction of those tasked to prevent it. The United Nations must call for a vote of the leaders of all member nations to authorize a no-fly zone to protect any member nation under its leader's declaration of existential threat. And I call upon NATO and all decent nations to use sufficient means to enforce it. Let us forever end the word invasion, let alone the act of democracy by autocracy. Thank you. May God bless Ukraine. May God bless America. May God bless our world.